Where's your
saw that
video
you are
waste
recording.
shirt at, bro?
It is actually right there.
Oh, all right.
Horror movies, mutilation, decapitation, torture. Does that sound entertaining? More blood than a blood bank. Have we got your attention?
Welcome back, terrestrials. We are continuing our best of subgenre horror movies. If you haven't
Right.
seen the other ones, go check them out. In this one, we're doing best found footage movie. So, what is the best found footage movie? Jerry,
Blair Witch.
Blair Witch Project,
Yeah. Now, yeah,
1999.
Blair, we got to make that because there's Blair Witch and then there's the Blair Witch Project.
Right, right,
And
right.
the Blair Witch Project is way better than that reboot Blair Witch.
But also, Blair Witch 2 is the most superior of the movies.
Of course, a Book of Shadows. You got
Yes.
a Book of Shadows,
Marilyn Manson.
Blair Witch, Marilyn Man. What?
It's the opening song in the movie.
Oh,
As
okay,
like
yeah.
the helicopters flying across the trees or whatever.
Oh yeah, how
Um,
many horror movies put fucking like sweet dreams over shit and just
I think it was the
ugh.
Beautiful People. I don't remember
I
exactly.
don't know. It was the 90s, but
Okay. The year
but
is 1999, Jerry.
yes,
What was going on in the world?
fuck, we got Matrix.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is what 1990 I was looking up and it's like, holy shit, there's fucking movies that came out. You got a Matrix,
Yes.
you have the Phantom Menace,
Yes.
Blair Witch
Yes.
Project.
hmm
And that's all that I really like
Austin
remember.
Powers, Toy
Apple
Story
Pie
2.
or American Pie or whatever that fucking where he fucks the pie. That movie.
Yeah, yeah, the
That
Pie
movie was
movie.
huge.
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, movies were big.
yeah,
But
yeah.
in this movie dominated. Filmed in 8 days, shot for like $27,
hmm
made like quarter billion.
hmm Now,
Let's talk about it.
with that being said,
Right.
this movie would not have had a leg to stand on. It would have been another last broadcast had it not been the internet campaign and the lore and the way they flooded the internet with the
Right.
story to make it all seem real.
Right.
Because take all that stuff out of this movie and you sit down and watch this movie. Is
Word
it
of
good?
mouth.
Good. Is it good? Yes. But is it the Blair Witch Project? No, it's not.
I mean, it was like huge at Cannes, apparently. But that was like we know that now, but
Right.
like back in the day, it was just like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, word of mouth, people go like the first week, the first day, people went and was like, yeah, it's some horror movie. I saw a trailer on like MTV one night for
Yeah.
it. And I have no clue what it's about. And then they
Right.
went and gone and watched it. And they're like, holy shit, you got to see this movie.
Yeah.
But what happens in it? Well, I don't really know, but you got to watch it, Then like what side, let me answer a question by asking a question. What camp are you in? Okay. Are you in camp? Oh my God, this movie is like one of the most terrifying things ever. Or are you in camp? Oh my God, this movie's fucking like an hour and a half of like nothing.
I'm a little bit in the middle
Okay.
because I see both points of view. I see how terrifying this movie is because of the idea of being lost and slowly being driven mad and all the progressive things that happen throughout the movie. But I also can sit here and watch it and go, this is just fucking people walking around in circles going, I'm upset about this. Well,
Josh.
yeah, this is your fault. No, it's your fault.
Right.
Turn the camera off. No, you turn the camera. Like, it's just that's all it really is, but they managed to convey the other side too. But I see both sides. Like
I
I see,
understand, but I'm more in terrifying
yeah,
because I enjoy that. Like, oh, great. We don't have any deposition. Like there's no like explanation. Like
Well,
imagine okay. Let's take this comparison. I heard someone else make this comparison, so I'll make the comparison too. Now imagine going to see the movie Jaws
mhm.
and never seeing what is fucking eating people in the water. That's
So what
Blair
you're
Witch.
saying is you just never see the shark.
Right. Never see the shark. Don't even know it's a shark.
Yeah, but
They
look,
think it's
the
shark.
difference is you see blood, you see body parts, you see water moving. You literally all you see in this one is some really, really bad arts and crafts and some stacking of the rocks. Like
Eh,
there's no violence to it at all.
right, right.
It's just
Which
if you're paying attention to the story, seemingly there's murders at the end. But
right.
but there's no visualization in Jaws without the shark, without seeing the shark. It's still terrifying because you know about sharks.
Right.
I know about witches, but it doesn't the witch doesn't scare me. It's the mental like decline of a human being
Yeah.
stuck. It's just like 127 hours or whatever. That
Right.
James Franco movie where he drinks his pee and cuts his hand off. It's
Right.
just like that. It's the mental thing that is terrifying to me, not the witch. The
Oh
witch is
yeah, no, no, no. Like even like the witch,
yes.
the murderer, the one who made the kids stand in the corner because he didn't like them,
Yeah.
or you know, was it just pissed off Josh who ran the fuck away and just had enough? Like, and we have all of these scenarios of what it could be. Blair Witch, I feel the witch could be anything, you know, but we get to go on this amazing journey of like no acting actors, and it's phenomenal. All right, bring it.
I mean, I see that point
Yeah,
because there's so many different directions the movie could take because there are so many options.
yeah,
But
and there's
that's
so
just
little
but
explained to us.
I mean, they explain everything you need to know in the beginning of the movie.
Right,
Like they're like, "Hey, we're doing this documentary about this. This is the story." Then they talk to the people in the town that tell them more stories.
right.
And then like so we're all caught up on what's happening, why they're there, and what they're looking for. So
Hmm.
the series of events could be the guy that killed the kids, it could be the witch, it could be, you know, whatever. It could just be
Right.
like mental decline and they're all doing this to each other. Like we don't know, but none of that shines through for me.
None of it.
None of it's satisfying to me. None of it is it
Yeah, I gotta.
doesn't come full circle for me. I don't
I
know.
like, and I understand that, but like that's where I really because the we talk about slow burns in movies. This is the slowest burning. Like this motherfucking fire is not even fire. It's just ice.
I
You,
think
you
there's a lot more slower burns than this.
I
I think that it was entertaining though. Don't get me
oh
wrong.
yeah,
To
no, yeah.
me, this movie isn't a slow burn because they made it in such a perfect copy of a documentary that it worked just like one. I know documentaries, I can follow documentaries.
Right,
Like they tell a good narrative of whatever story they're telling.
right.
And so like I don't consider this a slow burn. To
Okay.
me, this isn't like, oh man, you had to get through that. No, not for me at least. For my speaking for myself. But I to me, it's just nothing comes to fruition. Like nothing ever happens. Like they get some rocks and then somebody hangs some sticks and
Right,
then one dude's standing in the corner and then the movie's over. But
right,
you go to AOL, you put your disc in your computer and you close it and you get on the onlines and then you read this fucking story about this fucking crazy witch
right,
and this dude that she had this power over and all that stuff. That was it for me about this movie. Like the lore, the story, the marketing. That
Right.
was what makes this movie such an iconic movie to me.
Mhm.
Not to mention they just proved again you don't have to have a bunch of money to make a movie. Like
Right.
you can
That
just go
should
out
be
and
the
do it too.
most important thing,
Yeah.
and you don't need y-
A
like
really good story.
or actors like
Mhm.
maintain simple actors. I mean, from what I know, they like 'cause the motherfuckers camped out for 8 days. They were
Yeah,
out there camping,
I don't doubt that.
and the director and
Leo spent like months and months in Antarctica, but if the best you can do is walk around Culpeper for fucking 8 days, then
yeah,
fine, whatever.
yeah. But what do you call it? The director and them, they would just give them letters in the morning and be like, do this, do this, do this, but do it your way. You
Hmm.
know,
Yeah.
we're not gonna see where we're gonna come in, we're gonna get the film,
Mm.
whenever, or the tape and shit,
Yeah.
but you do it.
Yeah.
We're not gonna be sitting there being like, okay, fucking cut,
Hmm.
cut, you know,
Yeah.
and that mentality of also and it comes up in every one of these found footage movies. Why are they filming?
Hmm.
But this solves that problem instantly.
I
A
think that
doc
this is a lot of what they, I think this gives a lot of people the story. Like the why are they filming is because they're filming a documentary. You know
Yeah,
what I
they're
mean? Like,
pretentious like film students,
right, right, right.
never stop shooting. Never
So
stop
I
shooting.
remember hearing that that's the way they filmed this movie was handing them notes and then being
Yeah.
like, all right, we'll be back. I think that honestly, that is a really good idea to shoot more movies like that.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, that's not what happens. I mean, in some cases, on some sets, sure, it happens to an extent,
Yeah.
but overall, I don't think that that happens, and I think that that's a really good creative way. I think that that's how
Mhm.
you get movies like Wes Anderson movies. Like you go in this
Let the
scene,
actors act.
I need Bill Murray to argue with this guy about something while this guy is walking through the background and you trip and fall. Do it however the fuck you want. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I feel like that's solid, man. I would like to see more movies use that technique.
I know Wrigley Scott is like that, and Terry Gilliam,
Hmm.
where he doesn't care about acting. You're an actor. You know your craft.
Yeah,
My direction has to deal with all the shit that's going on behind you
right.
to make this shit look like it's a movie
Hmm.
instead of but the guys on Blair Witch, they don't need to fucking worry about what's going on behind them. All they
Right.
have to do is say, "Hey, listen, on an envelope, hey, we need this, we need this sometime today."
Hmm.
You know, and then the directors, they would do the stuff like when they knew that they were asleep, they would put out all of that Blair Witch like arts and crafts stuff,
Hmm.
and then they would give them the notes and be like, react to this,
Yeah.
or they would naturally react to it. The girls laughing outside,
Hmm.
which is still one of like the scariest things. Like they're in the tent,
Hmm.
they're in the tent, and they hear like the little girls
Yeah.
laughter outside. That's the director, the two guys directing them with a boombox,
Hmm.
and it's like perfect. She's
I
scared. She's really fucking scared, and she don't know what's going on. You know?
see that's the thing. You're even like you're telling how awesome that the guerrilla filming of this movie is, but like even though you're saying you think that it's scary and all this thing, you're not really like giving points to that. Like you're talking about the lore, you're talking about the way they filmed it, but you're not talking about the movie itself. So more specifically, what about the story and movie made you so like it?
It's human reaction. Okay. Like let's take The Conjuring. Okay. The Conjuring. It's
Yeah.
a pretty well-known mainstream horror movie nowadays, right?
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find something kind of like as a pinpoint for horror today,
Right.
you
Yeah,
know.
that's fine. That works.
Um, when you watch that horror movie and there's people inside of it that have to be scared,
Mhm.
it feels like they're acting scared. And it's not really like portrayed well to
Okay.
where I feel scared because they are being scared because a nun is like standing in the hallway
Mhm.
and they have to resort to something like, yeah, and now we'll just speed it up and it'll be like, real fast jump scene.
Right.
Her in the tent, okay,
Mhm.
hearing the little girls laughing. Even though we don't see her, we listen to her breathing. We
Mhm.
listen to her gasp, you know, that noise. It still like when I watch the movie, I still get goosebumps with it. Even when she's screaming, you can feel a sense of dread and terror. And, this is all towards her acting. Or when they're just trying to find Josh,
Mhm.
you know, and they're
Right.
screaming for him, and like it just feels genuine that they are terrified
Yeah.
of what's going on. There's a couple of horror movies that do this. Fucking Exorcist. Fucking when the mom comes in the room and Reagan's doing her fucking like
Mhm.
sit-ups and stuff and she gasps,
Mhm.
and you feel a sense of fear and terror. Um fuck, there's a couple of movies. The fucking in Jaws. The shark pops up and he pops into frame and he's
Mhm.
got the cigarette in his mouth and stuff.
Mhm.
You can see the look on his face and he's scared, and it portrays towards its audience, which gives a better portrayal than a lot of other horror movies that we're supposed to be scared, the actors on screen, but it's like bullshit, motherfucker, do it again. That's how I feel. Like,
See, I see your point because
okay,
there are aspects of that
well,
that
good.
I see in this movie, especially when she's in the house. Like I feel like she was scared.
Yeah,
And you're right about the camping scene with the little girls and stuff.
right.
Um,
Or when like when she finds the teeth in the
mhm,
cloth.
yeah,
And it's like I remember seeing that in the theater, like I don't know even know what the fuck's in there.
I
Like
googled it. I had to
yeah,
Google it. I had to
yeah.
Google it. I'm not ashamed to admit that because I looked at it and I was like,
But
it's either an ear or a tooth, and I can't tell.
I think they're teeth.
If that, yeah, it is. It's teeth
But
and possibly other body parts, but
like just her reaction to what it is, it's just it's what it is. Or even okay, I keep pointing towards her, but the frustration
mhm,
of characters just screaming. And then the one character sits there and he's looking through the camera and he's like, hey, I know why you like always having this thing going, and it like changes your perspective of
yeah, yeah,
things.
yeah.
And like
It's a
it's
different reality
yeah,
inside
it's different
here.
reality, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, than what's really going on. And that's where the movie really projects terror. you know we don't know because we're comfortable sitting in the fucking living room watching this thing
right.
now, or in the theater when it first came out. But what they're projecting on screen is, these fucking three kids out in the middle of fucking, where is it, Maryland or some shit? Fucking
Yeah, Burkittsville.
yeah, like just like mentally, physically exhausted and terrified.
Yeah, see that I think that that's part of what I do like, but
Hmm,
it's so much more to how they shot the movie and how they decided to do the movie
right,
versus the movie itself. Like I keep finding it hard to find things about the movie that I liked
right,
outside of how the movie was done, the marketing. Like it's all the mechanics of the movie, not the movie. So I
Oh
do
yeah.
agree. I do agree with like the level of realness to how scared they are.
Hmm.
But I yeah, nothing happened. And that kind of really bums me out about it.
Yeah. Well, I
But yeah,
mean, yeah, I understand like nothing happens, but like strong
I mean,
imagination,
right.
like
I mean, I understand so much is happening,
right,
but at the same time, nothing is happening.
right. Nothing. I mean, that's where I would say damages found footage later on when we are just bombarded with like the Hell House LLC, and like couple of things in it they do real well, but then they start overloading it. They really overload it. Like a couple of shots in Hell House that found footage they get right. The guy sitting there filming himself with the door open in the background and the shadow of
Mm-hmm.
something. The girl who's like, I'm gonna kiss the clowns down there. It's like, why are you gonna do that? And then she
Yeah.
like focuses the camera down, but she makes sure to hold her posture in this. So like the other clowns like, what do you think you're doing? That shit. And, um there are moments that are like really fucking good like that and crazy moments too.
Yeah.
But if you start overloading them, then my imagination
I
turns off.
definitely think the Hell House overloaded in number two. But
Yeah.
number one, I mean, I'm a bigger
Overloaded like a diaper. Fucking
filled with masterpieces.
mm,
Um, but yeah, no, I mean, I understand what you're saying, and I
right.
get it. It just doesn't hit home like that for me.
Right.
It's more the mechanics of the
Oh
movie,
yeah.
the idea of the movie. So, and just like how interesting and like how like planets aligned to make that movie the way it was. Like everything had to go its way, because if that online presence didn't happen, this movie would not be what it is today.
Yeah, that word of mouth when it kicked in.
Well, just the fake story in general.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I remember people like I like just dead on believing that that was real as fuck. And I was one of them momentarily, but I learned pretty quick that it wasn't.
Yeah.
But like that's what they wanted. They wanted nobody to be able to prove this wrong, and they wanted this to be real footage, and they put it out there like that, and it fucking worked.
Right.
On top of all the other elements of like who has the idea of just giving notes? Like that's completely unheard of. Like all these things had to get into sync and to make this movie, and I think that that's honestly more impressive than the movie.
Yes. Yes. And not only that, but keeping it and making sure that your audience of horror movie fans aren't going to stay around to watch the fucking credits,
Right.
where you have to go, hey, wait a minute. It says that she was played by that. I thought her
Yeah.
name, it's
Yeah.
just like, that's where like disbelief, but
Yeah.
a movie to create imagination like that in an audience,
Yeah.
to make somebody really honestly think, to the point where there were fucking Blair Witch like tours.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you touring? Like the abandoned.
Everybody thought it was real.
Yeah. I mean, they created their own like
A phenomenon.
folk tale. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
They created their own folk horror movie,
Yeah, they got their own creepy pasta.
Right. Right.
Their own
And
cryptid.
in my opinion, there's never been, yeah, Jaws, people stopped going into the ocean. The Exorcist, people started going to church a lot more.
Right.
You do not go camping after you watch the Blair Witch.
Been camping plenty of times after that.
Oh, yes, yes, Jacob, we know you've done, but not my ass. Not my, you are not
See, I
getting.
just feel like this movie affected you differently than
It
it
did.
did than it did like me. I don't know. I don't know where the public lies in this situation. Like,
So
if you're,
comment down below.
yeah, if
Did the
you're
Blair
still
Witch
hanging
scare
on to
you?
this, yeah, what I mean,
No.
which
Did you
side
see it in
do
the
you?
theater?
No.
No, I saw this twice. Saw it once with my parents,
No.
especially my mom. She really wanted to see it because of the phenomenon.
Yeah.
Like I saw this on the news was talking about it.
Yeah.
And then I saw it with the kid down the street who was like, "Man, it's not." And I was like, "It's fucking scary as shit, dude." And it was like my like coming of age. Like if I could make a movie about like not a young kid, but like I believe I was getting ready to go into high school,
Mm.
and I'm going to see Blair Witch in the theater. I'd seen horror movies before, not predictably good ones, but I like really saw this and it was like, holy shit, that was scary. And it wasn't about like what was on screen. It was what was in here that did fucking everything to me.
Yeah. Did you see this movie in theaters on drugs?
No, man.
Okay.
I was like going into high school.
Okay. I was just curious. I'm
Oh,
just trying to like I'm just trying to figure out what made it click so much more for you than it did me.
I don't know, man.
But
You know,
yeah, I mean it
did you
doesn't
have a good
matter.
childhood?
No.
No, I don't. Fuck that. But I don't know. It just certain things affect kids differently and shit. I mean, like I don't know what. I maybe the craze. Maybe we could blame really the craze,
That's what
where
I've pretty much been saying the whole time.
yeah, like that because of the hype and because of the whole thing.
Yeah.
Me hearing about it and hearing about it. That when I watched this, now knowing it's a movie,
Yeah.
but truly believing that this is real, we're watching fucking the murder of 3 people on film.
Oh, so you thought it was real when you saw it
Well,
in
yeah, that's the only
theaters.
thing that my brain can tell me and shit. I mean, I can't,
So
all
when
I
you
remember is
so
being
when you
scared.
saw this originally, you were under the impression that this was actually real.
That's what yeah. I thought it was
Oh,
like
that might
really
be
real.
the thing. Because I knew it wasn't real.
Yeah.
Like I had heard about it and I'd heard about like when they started promoting it, I heard about it and I heard about the story. So I like spent time on AOL finding all the details. And I
Huh.
was like, oh, this is dope. And then my friend was like, why would they be putting this in theaters if it was real?
Yeah, it was
And
really
then I was like, oh shit. So like I knew when I was watching it, it wasn't real. So that might have made a big difference in how I viewed it. Because I viewed it as a movie. You watched it as a documentary, like a
right.
real documentary. You were under the impression that it was real.
Yeah.
I was watching it as a movie.
Yeah, this is not this stupid ass scary movie. There's not even like a murder and shit. Like,
No,
yeah,
I mean, I remember thinking that it was good. I was like, this is
right.
good. This is cool. But I didn't take it in the same
Yeah.
way you did
Yeah, so that's the only
with the
thing that
same
I can
understanding.
maybe that's why to this day, you know, blank amount of years later, I still see it as a phenomenal movie because I'm still like mentally projecting that kid back in the theater, like
Mhm.
that was doing this number, like
Yeah.
yeah, you're in a theater, the fucking speakers are loud as shit and stuff. You're not gonna be able to, I don't know what to cover my ears and my eyes. It's like, well, you're not gonna see it either, don't worry. But yeah, like, and it just affected me, to the
Hmm.
point where I guess not only when I watch and enjoy it, as strictly a movie, but it takes me back to that fear, that early day fear.
Right. That's
So
cool. That's cool that it can still do that for you.
yeah. Yeah. Anything else?
Nah.
You got nothing else on your notes?
Nah. gas was $1.18 in 1999.
How much was milk?
I don't know. It didn't say that.
Didn't fucking. All right.
Also, we
Okay.
were on the brink of Y2K, which I still think is funny.
Oh yeah. I mean, like,
Everybody thought electronics were going to stop
right.
because a number moved.
It was crazy, man. It was the 90s. I mean, shit went down.
It was the
Shit
90s.
went down, man. It was the
Yeah,
90s. So,
yeah. All right, let's get into it.
All right, thriller, kill it, Jacob.
It's thrilling.
It's a thrilling movie. It's
Yeah.
very thrilling. Yeah.
Mhm.
Cult classic.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah, well,
It is.
yeah. I'll say it is. I mean,
it is.
It is?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
It's just that I don't hear very many people talking about it nowadays. You know, other than like you know, like this phenomenon that happened back in the 90s.
Right.
You know.
But that's what I'm saying. That's how that's going to be remembered forever. Anyways, they kind of shot themselves in the foot with that, I think. But
yeah. Would you go see it in the theater today?
yeah, probably.
Yeah, I might. I mean, on video or on fucking the theater, it's still the same movie. So
Right.
All right, what are you starring it?
You go first because I need to consider all the things we've said.
I'm going 5 stars.
Naturally, I should
Like
know.
of the found footage movies, there's not very many like potent ones. We did the last broadcast. This is everything that the last broadcast failed. This fucking like blew it out of the water.
Yeah.
You know, where the last broadcast, we said, oh man, I wish we would have just seen everything that happened out in the woods. This everything happens out in the woods. You know?
Well, yeah, that was your big thing. Yeah.
Right. Like, could you imagine if this movie was nothing about but like people talking about the 3 people that went in the woods, and then we saw a little like little bit of like, you know, I'm so scared, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's the last broadcast.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Right.
And then they tacked on another several dumb minutes.
Right.
I'm gonna give it a 4. I'm gonna
4?
yeah, because it's definitely better than run of the mill, but it definitely didn't hit like it did for you. I think the lore in the time, like that time in life when that movie came out, all that stuff, like it was good.
Different, yeah.
Stuff. It was different, and it was because the last, what was the last fucking found footage movie other than the last broadcast? Like, I'm sure they were out there, but they weren't big, and nor was the last broadcast.
Cannibal Holocaust.
Yeah, fucking 30 years earlier.
You know, yeah, and I mean, even after this came out, didn't blow up. Like, oh man, we're gonna make all these found footage movies until fucking Paranormal Activity came out.
Yeah,
you know,
that wrecked
like
scene.
There was no, huh?
But like, I said that wrecked the scene, as in like that wrecked the found footage scene. Like that came in hard and like dominated that scene for quite a while.
Right.
But could you imagine going in to Paranormal Activity and being like, somebody is showing us all their ring footage?
Yeah.
Like,
You mean
this is real. This is real. All this is actually happening. This is all their ring footage.
Yeah, I mean,
That's
because
how
I didn't
I
see it in the
think
theater, I saw it on like, I believe I saw it on the computer. I didn't even see it on TV, and it just did not hit the same.
Yeah.
So I think that it just different timing, but
yeah.
So,
all right.
And then like, yeah, after this, fucking, I think it was The Ring that got more popular.
Yeah, but that wasn't that wasn't found footage.
No, it's not found footage, but it just became,
there is found footage inside of it, supposedly, but yeah.
Right. So, but, yep.
All right.